Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to introduce someone very special.
From organizing some of the largest parties in New York City and all over the world to surviving Fire Festival.
Won't go that far, I'm sure, but...
He is the ultimate team player.
His name is Andy King.
Welcome to Take Two with Andy King.
Oh my gosh. How exciting today on Take Two with Andy King. Don't you love that title? Take Two with Andy King. I think a lot of my friends say, Andy, you're like a cat, except I don't have 9 lives. I've got like 29 lives. But we thought it was appropriate to call this podcast Take Two with Andy King. And I'm excited to have Sawyer here from Canada on today. I was blessed to meet Sawyer a couple years ago when I was up in Canada. God, Sawyer, what was it, 2 years ago?
I think, yeah, it was in the spring. It might have been 2 years ago this spring.
2 years ago this spring. And I was up doing a little keynote speaking at a conference. And you were attending, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, thank you very much for having me on. Honestly, it's been nice keeping in touch over the last 2 years. But as soon as you guys mentioned that, you're doing a pod and stuff, I was stoked, and I'm happy to be a guest.
Well, sorry, I think what's fun for me, I'm the old guy, and you were like the young guy, but like the Renaissance guy. And we just love following you on Instagram and all the cool things you're doing. And I said to my partner, wow, okay, we need to get Sawyer on, because you're doing what I should have been doing when I was your age. And now, I'm about to be 60 and I'm trying to be doing sort of the same things. But at the end of the day, I feel like you and I have a great bond, and certainly a lot of it's based on sustainability, which is kind of our ethos. And it's not an easy journey, obviously, our world of sustainability, especially me for events, but we're doing our best. Obviously, we'll share some stories right now on how COVID has affected us, but I just love what you're up to, Sawyer. And I love, I think the first bond we had was when you offered to take our picture, and there it was, Craig and I standing in front of the eye in Seattle. What was
the CN Tower? Yeah,
CN Tower, and it was the best picture that anybody had ever taken. I was like, oh my gosh, who is this person? Track him down. And you sent us the photo, which of course I think we've posted. I don't know. Maybe we posted it.
Yeah, you guys put it up. I put it up. It's funny. I don't go very far without my camera. It just happened to be in my book bag, and the timing of that photo was perfect because it was sunset. The sun was going down. The CN Tower was like perfectly in frame. It was just kind of a perfect storm.
It was amazing. I mean, we loved it. I think that that should have been the picture. After dating Craig for like a year, I finally leaked. I thought I'd leak it to the press, but I didn't even. Craig and I had a picture of us down in Charleston, and it was like a beach scene or something, I think it was a picture of us in Florida. And last February, almost a year ago, and boom, I put it up and I said, finally found true love after 58 years. It took me 58 years, and then of course it, shot across the wire. So of course, people.com picked it up, and everybody else in the world. Craig actually became rather famous in Scotland, which was kind of fun because, first of all, most of his family and friends didn't know he was gay. So that was like the first, wow, he came out on the internet. Well, that's thing. And then 2, Daily Mail picked it up and just went wild with it in the UK. So it was all over Ireland, Scotland, England. Andy King, Fire Festival, dating someone, whatever, half his age, or less. I'm like, what must we be talking about? But anyway, it should have been that photo that you took, Sawyer. That's the photo that should have been on it. Oh my word. So Sawyer, I'm so glad to be able to kind of talk to you a little bit and share some of the stuff that you're working on right now. And when I say like a young guy hitting it out of the park as a young Renaissance guy, I know it's not easy, right? I know you've got your uphill battles, but let's talk about Country Liberty. Let's talk about your clothing line, which is so inspiring to me too. How did you come up with the idea, and how's it going?
Sure. So I actually come from a background of professional hockey. So I grew up in rural New Brunswick, super small town, 800 people, related to everybody, know everybody, that type of town. And I left home when I was 16 to the, quote unquote, big city of Halifax, which is a big East Coast city out here, to play major junior hockey. From there, I got drafted to the NHL. And my whole life, I was obsessed. Every thought in my head was hockey related. And it allowed me to travel around the world at a young age. I moved to Europe when I was 19. The Canucks sent me there.
Wow.
And when I was living in Europe, that's when I really realized, the cultural differences between rural New Brunswick, small town New Brunswick, and Salzburg, Austria. A very, fashion forward and well, just forward thinking in general type city, very modern.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Beautiful. No. It was my first look at mountains, and there's the big castle up on the mountain. I'd never seen a castle before. Little things like that, all the lakes and all that. It was
opera, symphony, arts. It's just, I love that city for sure.
Yeah, no, amazing city. And it was there that I realized I gained that perspective moving around to few different cities and then moving to Europe, where it's like, I'm really proud of where I'm from. I'm rural Canadian. I'm proud to be where I'm from. I love all these places I'm traveling, yes, but there's a special place in my heart for home. And I knew that eventually when hockey was done, I wanted to represent that feeling. And a few years later, I went to university to get a degree, and I had a really good scholarship opportunity. So I went to university, got a degree, played on the hockey team, and started this business.
Cool. I love it. And so who inspired you on the clothing side?
Honestly, the clothing side was like the easiest way out. I had this passion, and I was like, how do I just very easily represent it? I was like, I'll just print it on a t-shirt. It was the most thoughtless part of the whole business, was like, how can I represent this? I'll just wear it. And I printed 12 t-shirts, and that's literally what I did. My goal, I put in $200. I had a partner in the early days. We each put in $200, and we hoped to get our money back. That was the ambition, was to generate $400 in revenue. And fast forward to now, it's a good business.
Wow. Jeepers, I love that. Managing expectations, but then keeping it down. And I think that is so inspiring for young kids today, where when you think about starting a business and people are I need millions of dollars. And no, you know what? You can start small and you'd be surprised. But most people today don't have that wherewithal. They're no, I need to get 10 investors, and I need to, you know what? Don't pull that risk that high, right? But it depends on obviously the business and what you're doing. But from a clothing perspective, that's pretty cool. Yeah. What are you selling now, and what are your items that are most successful?
So we have basically a full clothing line, but our biggest movers would be, our hoodies. We have a plaid fleece. It's the most Canadiana thing you'll ever see. It's been our best seller 3 years in a row. Mesh back hats, very simple. It's a lot of comfort. It's not high fashion. It's very just comfortable lifestyle type clothing. And that's kind of our niche. And that's where we've, found the most success.
And I have a sneaking suspicion you're taking all the pictures, aren't you? Those photos of all the models, everybody wearing the clothing. They're incredible. Are you taking all the pictures?
Yeah. So I take some of the pictures, but a lot of them I don't, but I'm so I really like the photography side of things. So I've made a lot of friends and networked a lot. So if it's not me taking the photos, it's someone I'm closely related to, a good friend or something like that. And yeah, I recognized early the need for very good quality content. Because, when we finally evolved from just iPhone banger photos to true photography, we noticed a huge difference in our business. So it's, that quality content's very important to us.
I love it. And is it my demographics 18 to 35. Is that kind of yours too with the line?
Yeah, it's funny. The line has, in the beginning, it moved with my age. When I was at university, it was very much a university type demographic, just because it was word of mouth and it was person to person combat to get the brand out. But now I would say it's certainly widened. We have a lot of we have all ages buying these items as gifts, and we have all ages wearing them, but I would probably have to say 20 to 35. Yeah, would probably be our majority, but we've had, people in their 90s buying it. So, we're kind of all over the board there.
And where do we buy your clothing?
So you can find it online at countryliberty.ca. And online as well, you can see all of our store locations. So we work with 55 retail locations that we sell out of, and also online.
Nice. And Sawyer, so from a sustainability perspective, what can we tell our listeners? locally grown, made in
Locally,
Canada,
locally inspired for sure.
locally inspired. Okay.
Yeah, I mean everything that we do, like I still live here, and for a lot of you know, opportunity reasons, you know, maybe I should move to the city, but I don't, because I want to be surrounded by my inspiration, and I want to be living the, you know, the life that I'm promoting. So that's very important. It's all Canadian inspired. We do have some Canadian made products. We do have some products that are made overseas, but everybody that I work with is Canadian. So a lot of the people I'm partnering with, the source products and things like that, are all basically Montreal, Toronto, Halifax, Moncton.
Okay, cool. I love it. Keeping it in your hood, keeping it in your backyard. Now, Sawyer, but you're also working on a cool project, Liberty Village.
Yep.
What's going on with that?
Yeah, so Liberty Village is it's just a small 8-unit cabin rental business. I wanted to offer a physical location for our customers. What I've noticed with our customers is, for economic reasons, a lot of them live outside the country. A lot of them live in the city because of their job, because of the university, because of, you know, X, Y, and Z. But on the weekends, they like to get out of the city and come and kill time and do what we do here at Country Liberty. So I wanted to create a physical location for our customers to come and do that. And I also wanted to separate myself from other clothing brands. You know, clothing brands, you know, come out with new colors every year, and they come out, you know, very basic thinking, where I wanted to really get outside the box and stand out and make myself different. That, hey, we're not just coming out with a new hoodie this year. We're building a resort, you know?
That's amazing. And so tell me about the cabins.
Yeah. So they're right off the Rishabukto River. They're about 5 miles from the Atlantic Ocean. It's a beautiful spot. The sunsets are just unbelievable. Actually, the translation for the river, Rishabukto River, is River of Fire, because the sunset lights up the river in such a way that it looks like it's on fire.
Do you spell that F-Y-R-E or?
Yeah. Oh, is that a segue into fire or what?
Oh, no, Jesus, no, not today. No, maybe in a little bit, but
Is it too early?
too early. And let me just have one more sip of my drink before I.
Yeah, there you go. One more. Yeah.
Your area is so beautiful up there. That's amazing. And
yeah.
So who's coming? I mean, do you have any? I mean, my partner and I, we have spent a fair amount of time in Canada, and as you know, when we met you, I was doing a tour of the country up there, and had 10 or 12 speaking engagements, which is amazing. And we got to see different pockets all the way from Vancouver to Banff to Montreal to Toronto to, you know, and it's just an amazing, amazing part of the world that I think most Americans just don't understand and haven't discovered. And where you are in that Halifax, Brunswick area, oh my word, is absolutely spectacular. We have to come check it out. I mean,
yeah,
because for us as Americans, you know, we go up to Maine, but you're just an extension of Maine, and Maine is absolutely beautiful. And there you are above it, right?
That's right. We're so much like Maine. I like exploring Maine because it's so similar to New Brunswick. It's the landscape, the environment, everything. You know, we're right on the ocean as well, and like the seafood and there's different things that we offer. Like, and that's what I like about Canada in general. You know, you go out west, you get the ocean. You get, you get the mountains, the Rockies, and in the middle you get the beautiful lakes. But then on the East Coast, it has its own kind of appeal. You have the nice colors in the fall of all the trees, and you have the ocean and the rivers and the small town and like connectedness and all the local eatery and seafood and all those types of things that we have out east. It's a pretty special place. And to your point, it's fairly untapped. You know, we don't have that many American tourists here, and we don't have that many even Canadian tourists. Most people kind of stop around Toronto or Montreal, which the people that know to continue to the East Coast have such an exclusive experience for that reason.
It's incredible. I love it. And I feel like it's funny. We'll tie in a little bit now with COVID, and we'll find out how it's affected you. Obviously, for me as an event planner, you know, the world has come to a screaming halt. And as you may know, you know, I hosted a virtual music festival last May, and I think we raised $200,000 for 2 different charities for COVID, which is pretty cool. I had over 100 performers, and but we've been forced to stay home. We've been forced to like get to know ourselves again through